Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. And yesterday I made a quick video talking about the 240-day Ayaka banner debacle, right? And I said it doesn't mean that it's actually 240 days. I believe within the first 30 seconds I said I don't think it's 240 days. I think it's a placeholder. By the time this video goes live, you guys should already see it. 240 days, but don't need to worry. That's like almost 8 months. People will be like, 8 months of Ayaka banner, like what? How? But don't worry, it's probably not going to be 8 months. This is just a stand-in timer that HoYoverse is currently using to address the situation of an indefinite extension of patch 2.6. That it's telling us there is an indefinite amount of time, which I honestly feel at this point, some people, they just don't know what indefinite means. Indefinite means for an unspecified amount of time, which now her banner has been updated to more accurately reflect that sentiment from HoYoverse. So I just want to get this clear. Like, people are like, oh, Walrus, why are you lying, right? It says 240 days. 240 days isn't indefinite. Technically, you are correct, but did you honestly think HoYoverse was going to sit here and say, we're going to let an Ayaka character and weapon banner run for 8 months? Right? Think about that. Think about what you are proposing. I extrapolated that there's no way, so I wrote indefinite, which I guess now turns out to be true. We don't know specifically how long it's going to take for 2.7 to come out, and there was a lot of disappointment. And to my surprise, there was more disappointment than I anticipated there would be. I was thinking that people were going to take this with relative grace, and I know people in China at this point have accepted their fate. They're just memeing at this point, saying, oh, you know, like we can get 60 primo gems for every hour that 2.7 is delayed. I would love to live that fantasy too. Now, I'm sure you guys would love to have that as well, but you know, that's not the reality we live in. The thing is, people, this all boils down to one thing. And I think a lot of you guys, even the ones who mostly don't agree with me, hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from. It's about perspective. You have to understand it's a different nation, it's a different culture, it's a different problem that they face than the one we have over here. So it's very insensitive for people to write in the comment section that companies should do better, the company can do better, the world is digitized now. It's not how you think it is. For anything to be able to get publicized in China, there are things that they need to do that people in the West just never have to deal with. And I know you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but they need government approval to release any sort of digital content. And for the most part, you first have to get approved to even create the work, and then after the work is created, there's one more reviewing before it's okay to be sent out to the public. And this is probably the process that is going to be heavily delayed for the release of Genshin Impact patch 2.7. I just don't think that government officials, for the most part, are even capable of going through the reviewing process. And for the most part, when I used to work there, I know this could take a couple of days up to a week. And with what's going on right now, it could take up to a month or maybe longer. Game design takes multiple layers. You need to go through protocols. This has to get passed to that person, which has to go through this person, which has to get approved by this official, which then is slated for public release after a full-fledged beta test. And now with communications kind of throttled, and it's difficult to focus on the creative work when you are worrying about when you're gonna get your next meal. Does this hopefully put into perspective for you guys? Have you guys ever tried sitting down to write an essay and at the same time have to worry about your livelihood every couple seconds? It doesn't make for a very pleasant creative experience. And almost all of Genshin is a creative process, whether it's the music, it's the landscape, it's the lore, character design, combat, anything, Serena Teapot, UI designs, and even quality of life. It's all semi-creative at the very least. So if you've never worked a creative job, I can assure you that it is incredibly difficult for you to be able to sit down and get the work done to begin with when you don't even know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. And that's the environment those people live in. And I lived in China. I lived through multiple viral outbreaks back in the day, the swine flu and everything. I lived through that back in China, and I know what it feels like. It's a difficult time for them. And I think for players, you have to give them time. You have to allow them the time to put out about the quality of content that they hold themselves to, right? And I've spoken about this in the past, and that is Hoyoverse has a certain standard for their product. They're not going to put out unpolished work because it reflects badly on their design philosophy. Now, another thing we need to address is people saying, well, this is very unfortunate to see because we were hoping that they would be able to maybe even put out a standard banner. Of course, there's also the opposite side. Like, thank goodness the Ayaka banner is getting extended. And of course, to my understanding, people were visibly upset about the willingness to do nothing. And I think this really, as opposed to show us if MiHoYo cares or not, it should show us more so how dire of a situation they must be in. Because there's one thing Hoyoverse that we can all agree on loves more than anything else, and that is money. If they can do something that makes them more money, we can bet 9 times out of 10 they're gonna do it. So the fact that introducing a new banner would likely generate them more revenue, yet they have chosen not to do so. It just highlights the situation right now that they don't even have the team or the mental capacity to think about profits. Right now, it's all for personal survival. I'm sure people are taking work leaves and they can be excused for not working on the game, have to focus on following the protocols. I don't mean to sound like I'm judging you guys. I don't mean to sound like to say you guys are wrong. I understand where the player frustration is coming from, right? Especially the ones who spent money to get Ayaka. That's gonna be a question which I think no one has an answer for. And I think Hoyoverse, to a degree, has to understand what they're getting themselves into when they decided to extend the Ayaka banner along with her weapon indefinitely for the 2.6. Why not just drop a standard banner? Even if players are not as excited or interested, take the banner off to at least show the people who has spent money to pick up your premium product that, hey, we're still thinking about you guys. We want to make sure that your money did not go to waste, and that no, people will not be able to save up over a period of time to benefit from a limited character's availability. That's the thing that I think should really be biting them in the butt right now, because how reluctant will you be to continue spending for a company that feels like it doesn't value the exclusivity of their premium products? So at the end of the day, I just want to let you guys know that yes, 2.7 is delayed indefinitely, but that doesn't mean we should be out here crucifying or feel somewhat disappointed with Hoyoverse with all of this. I'm sure they would love to push out the next patch, make more profits, top the charts as they did in the previous year. But right now, it's out of their control. It's out of their hands. The best they can do is communicate. And I hope to see more communication. I hope to see them come through and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what's happening. We can expect this, when. I have confidence in Hoyoverse that they will not remain silent for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because if they do, they can't really blame the players in the end for quitting, leaving, or stop spending on the game, because we don't know what's going on, right? We can't be at their beck and call whenever they want to make money, yet we get tossed to the side whenever things change. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say, people. Stay up to date with the content release, stay up to date with the news release, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.